Hey, yo, what's good, Double Clutch Nation? It's your boy, Y Ghost, and today I just kind of feel like I need to talk. So, um, I'm going to talk to you guys. I think the main premise of this video today is going to be the 5 hardest things about getting older. If you guys didn't know, I am 20 years old. I just turned 20. The reason I'm choosing to talk to a camera instead of someone else is because I've found that being someone who has mental health issues, when you try to express yourself to other people, they just assume that you're going through an episode. And it just makes everything worse. Um, because even if they are there to listen, it makes it feel less free and less like I can actually feel comfortable expressing my thoughts without being judged or assumed on how my mental state is. I've struggled with things a lot of my life, and a problem I had when I was younger with getting older. I don't know if you'll be able to relate, but when I was a young kid, I didn't really want to get older if it didn't mean that I was gonna be something that isn't extraordinary. Obviously, I'm sure a lot of kids want to be an astronaut or a president or something that you know means something, at least from a kid's standpoint. And unfortunately, my inner child still shows a lot. I still feel like I need to be something, and I want to be, and I try very hard to be. Besides just success, I try to be a very good person. I try to be a good friend. I try to be a good family member. I try to be a good relationship partner. Coworker, all those things. I just try to be a good member of society, and hope that doing the right things and working hard over time will work for me. And I don't think any of that is wrong. I think that's wonderful. It's one of my favorite things about myself is that I continue to try no matter how hard things seem. Um, but knowing how much of an uphill battle I was at without going into too much detail, in about freshman year, I was hospitalized and a lot of things changed for me. And it was a very uphill battle to seeing myself in the situation I am now and being comfortable in my own skin. And a lot of the time when I was a kid, I wanted to be something big, right? Because I didn't think being a guy who works a full time job as I do and, doesn't really have a crazy social life and doesn't have a bunch of things going on, I didn't think that was good enough. There were a lot of kids growing up that I thought I was going to see the rest of my life, but either because things happened or their parents didn't think I was a good kid or a good person, and maybe I wasn't, or maybe, my home situation wasn't one they wanted their kids a part of. But knowing that I was seen in a certain light by a lot of people, it made me really feel the need to be special to prove them wrong. And that's wrong. I shouldn't need to prove anyone wrong. But I started to feel like I was less than everyone that I wanted to be around, or at least I was supposed to be. I was seen as less, and I never felt like less. I felt as though I could be anything I want to be, and I still feel that way. But it's like every time I see myself slipping, I do panic a lot because I don't ever want to stray off the path and find myself as the person they saw me as that made it to where I couldn't hang out with people or be around the people I cared about. And I'm not saying that's the main reason that some of my friends that I thought I'd have for the rest of my life are gone, but it was something that weighed on me a lot as a kid was not being able to hang out with certain people that I had genuine love for, from a friend perspective, um, just because of who I was or what I dealt with. And it hurts me sometimes to see some of those people in the past and how they viewed me, because I don't view myself in a lot of the lights they did, and I understand why, because I didn't always act right, but I try, and I can't say I always tried, but I honestly didn't think I'd be a 20-year-old. I didn't think I'd be past 18. I didn't think I'd be past 17. 17 was like my there's no chance unless I'm a famous rapper, which is crazy. There's no chance I'll be here. And thankfully, I am through a lot of hard work and dedication. But the problem with that hard work and dedication is now that I've made it so far, anytime that I see myself start to go back or feel some of the ways that I really struggled with, um, it does hurt because I know that if I let that consume me, it's gonna feel like it was all for nothing. And it's very hard for me being a man who is very open and very expressive. And I support, I love all people. I think everyone should express themselves. I think you should have fun. I think you should live with the purpose of being the best version of yourself you can, whether that mean, socially, mentally, work wise, all that stuff. It's very hard when you're mentally ill, which I am. I'm not gonna lie, but like when I know that I want everyone to be able to express themselves and I notice that I'm suppressing again. And the reason I'm suppressing is noticed, and that sends me further down because I'm like, okay, what's wrong with me? I should be able to express. And I notice a lot of the things that do bother me is I'm not really the most comfortable going to people because a lot of the time I either feel like they're judging me and I shut down, or um, they think that I'm having a mental moment, and that just doesn't feel right because I don't feel that bad. Um, and so it's really hard to open up really to people who aren't like deep in my inner circle. And one of the harder things about getting older is knowing that a lot of those connections that I have aren't always available and aren't the same. I've noticed a lot of my friends, pretty much most of the people I talk to in high school, I don't see anymore, which is normal. And a lot of the kids that I knew since childhood don't talk to at all. I actually don't know if I can name one, but that's okay. That's just kind of how it is, and I just have to, deal with that. That's life. But that is one of the really hard parts about growing up is just accepting that the people that you expected to become like roommates with in college, or see yourself become successful with, or just always planned on having as your best man at your wedding, or just silly stuff, are people you haven't talked to in years. That that is very heavy. And I feel it a lot because a lot of the time I can't pinpoint what went wrong, and people just grow apart, and that's fine. But it does hurt sometimes in hindsight, for sure. Another hard part about growing up and getting older is realizing that now when you mess up, it's you. I have to take accountability. I have to have everything sorted and be smart. I can't go crash out on someone because I didn't like something. I can't go quit my job or get fired or hurt myself because now the person who has to fix those things that I messed up is all me. And so I don't really mess that many things up, but it is something difficult to know that if I were to relapse on something such as like harm, or other things, um, and I got sent away, that affects my job, that affects my family, that affects myself. And, there's bills that come with that. And I don't have health insurance, though I need to get it. But there's a lot of things, and that's my fault. I should have health insurance, which is such a weird thing to say, but I should. And that's okay. And I am pretty nervous, but this, believe it or not, is helping. Um, and I know it's kind of weird that I might share this. I'm still not sure, but I do want to know if anyone can relate to me, and I do want to hear feedback. I just don't want to feel judged in the moment, so I don't shut down. So I hope that that is understood. Um, and though I tried to make this a structured video, kind of like 5 things hard about growing up, I've given you two. Here's a third. Um, it's really hard knowing that I made decisions that affected my life that I didn't realize how much they'd affect my life until months later when it was already done. There are people who I have made decision towards that I wish I could change the way I went about things, or people I cut off that I do wish that there was at least some form of contact or better closure. I have two best friends that I grew up with, and don't know what either of them do anymore. And that's fine, but it does hurt. I do wish them the best, whether or not they wish me the best. I'm sure they do, but even if they don't, it is what it is. We're all our own people. Um, but it is interesting just knowing how much I saw things as a kid, and as crazy as this is going to sound, in GTA, I would not be here if um, or I wouldn't think that I would choose this existence when I was 13 or 14 or even past that, because I didn't think that I would be okay with being a 20-year-old who works a full time job and is struggling with YouTube and struggling to be there for himself and his friends and others and losing people. And a lot of that is hard. And I'm all for crying, but I've noticed that I have a hard time crying lately, even though I want to so bad. Um, and it's not like a masculinity thing. I fully support crying. I want to cry. But I tend to feel like the conception of being mentally ill and people saying, "Oh, they're just having a breakdown," or they're having an episode, or they're manic. You know, I don't want that to be perceived about me. So I try my best to keep things in check because I really don't appreciate those things. Um, because I'm a person and I don't want to be labeled, as every time I try to express myself being mentally ill, I just want to have feelings. Um, and I know that I am bad. I'm really bad with myself. I'm by myself right now. Look at me. But when I'm by myself, I notice that a pit arises. And so I've always really struggled with that. Because I think, and I don't have any choice but to think, and I try to bury it with work and stuff, and YouTube helps with that, but I lose sleep bad, which is another thing. Sleep very hard as an adult. I have a lot of, and like I could stop being there for my partner. I could stop being there for my friends. I could stop being there for a lot of things and just fully dedicate myself to work and bettering myself. And maybe that would work, but when I'm alone, I go nuts. So would it work? I hope so. Um, Hopefully it doesn't get there, but sometimes that kid who didn't want to be 20 and not a nobody, but thought that if I wasn't the one, the thing that I needed to be, which is, successful, good, rich, as silly as it sounds, exactly where I wanted to be, which I don't even know what that is, but if I'm not that, I didn't want to exist. And to know that me as a 13-year-old wouldn't want this, it's stupid. M- from an outside perspective. But internally, the fact that I know it's true and I'm still fighting for that kid, I'm still trying. I still need to be. And I still believe that this is not good enough for me. And that's okay. Because I've also learned that trying is beautiful. And I am trying. But when I notice setbacks or notice myself start to not be as productive, whether that's because I'm just drained or tired or really just trying to be there for other people, um, I get really hard on myself because I know that if I fail at the things that I need, that I'm not okay. And so it's a dilemma because I need to feel like a I want to be a good person for everyone, and I struggle to be alone, so I have to stay sane. But at the same time, if I give myself to too many people or am there for too many people or try too hard and I exhaust myself and I don't see myself being as successful at things such as YouTube or just, losing some of my personal things that I did with myself, like basketball or watching basketball or just being a little dork, playing video games, stuff like that. Um, I noticed that I do. start to feel like everything's falling. And it's kind of like the balance is the hardest part for me to find. Finding balance as an adult is difficult. And I think that really this was just a vent. I'm just venting. Um, and I love it. I've always wanted to do this. Um, because I feel like I will be successful. I genuinely believe I will be. The only problem is that if I'm not, the stupid part of my brain, the part that everyone judges, is like, well, it's fine if you're not. You're just not going to exist. Which is why I try so hard and why I'm so scared to fail. But it really is kind of like the odds are stacked against me, which obviously, what percentage of people are successful? And that's all I'm going to hear forever. And I can hear that I can go back to school, but what is school going to do for me? Nothing that will make me feel okay is going to be achieved by me giving up everything to be successful in a certain area that might not even work out for me. And even if it did, the only thing I wanted to go to school for was sports broadcasting. And now I feel like I could do that through YouTube. I really do. So you're telling me that I should go back to school. That doesn't help because I think I can pull it off. I believe in myself. And yeah, maybe going back to school would be the way, but I also have the same thoughts of when the same people who are telling me I can go back to school told me that it was a bad idea and it wasn't a good school and it probably won't work out. And, I don't really want to learn little skills. I'm learning as I go. I don't need a degree. I don't need a course to tell me that I know something. I can just learn it. The internet is so powerful. I can figure out anything if I just try. But then again, there's no guarantee that trying is ever going to work. And so it's like if I make the wrong decision, decisions are so hard. If I make the wrong decision, I I have to deal with it. There's no time machine. Which shout out Joey in a Fortnite video recently. He said that he would go back and fight in a war if he had a time machine and cement himself in history, which is awesome. And unfortunately, can't say the same. If I had a time machine, I'd be changing things that happened or that I did. Probably not even things that happened to me, things that I did that I feel regret for, that I feel curious on how other ways would have played out. And the problem with that is who says that works out? Who says that does any better? And so, life, one of the hardest parts for me is just making decisions and feeling full confidence or letting myself have full confidence in that decision being what it will be and just letting it develop. Um, and so I get really hard on myself when it comes to failing or when other people tell me what I should do because if it's not what I'm already doing, and I know that's stubborn and not open minded, but if it's not what I'm already doing, that means that I have to change. And change is good, and I am changing with time. I'm adapting to what I need, but based on what fits me. If I change based on what fits you, that has nothing to do with the alignment of my morals or my views or what I want. It's scary, and I don't have a choice. It's just the hard part about growing up. um, but I hope you guys got something from that. Maybe just understanding me more. Maybe we built a connection. Maybe you can relate to me. Maybe this is pathetic. Maybe you're judging me. Maybe I am having a mental episode. I can't even say that right. Mental episode. But so what? It happens. So what you judge me? So what this is pathetic? A lot of things I do are probably pathetic, but it's trying. And that's one thing I can say is I try. With all that said, if you made it this far, thank you. Hi. I'm weird. I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry. Um, to those of you that I know that see this, God, this is embarrassing. That's probably the hardest part about venting to a camera is knowing that people that I know are going to see this. I don't really care what other people think, but knowing that you might look at me and be like, "Oh, that's that kid that almost cried on camera trying to explain his stupid little thoughts," which is that little voice in my head, the not productive one. um, just critiquing myself. Um, and no one has time to worry about me, but who knows? Um, I don't want to be worried about. And don't take that as no one has time to worry about me. Oh God, I'm so sad about that. I don't want you to worry about me. Worry about yourself. Get better with yourself. Learn about yourself. I can handle me. I'm trying to handle me. And I trust myself. That's important. That's something that me as a kid couldn't say. Because I didn't trust myself. I hated myself. I love myself. And I hate myself sometimes. A lot of the time. But there is belief. And hopefully I make it. So with all that said, if you like this video, leave a like. If you would do me the hugest favor of subscribing, I would appreciate it. But if not, that's okay. You got your own things to worry about. You made it this far, that's crazy. You're already great. But even if you didn't, love yourself. Um, and also, if you can comment, just you can tell me that this is pathetic. You can tell me how you feel about the things I said. If any of it related to you, if you found connection, if you want to give me advice, go ahead. I don't need you to, but I do appreciate it. Shows you care, but I don't also need you to care. I know I just sound like a stupid record. I can't even say things right. But yeah, subscribe, like, comment. I hope this got something for you, whether that's understanding of me, understanding of yourself, relation, someone to make fun of. But I love you because I love everyone. And I know that sounds like a lie, but I really don't wish bad on people. Um, because I know we're all just trying. And if you're not trying, I'm sorry. You should. But it's okay. You'll find your way or you won't. That's the hard part about life too is you do or you don't. But there's no guarantees. And even if I do try and I exhaust myself and I do everything right and I really, really just hammer down and try to be successful, there's no guarantee it happens. And you could say I just wasted all that time and effort and I would have been better off just chilling. Um, which is it could be true. Maybe I should go to school, but I don't know. And I'm gonna trust myself. So with all that said, like, subscribe, comment, enjoy basketball, enjoy Fugglers, which do bring me some happiness. I love them. And I hope you guys enjoy them too. But if not, you probably have your own things you love. And if you don't, you'll find it. Trust. Um, love yourself. Please enjoy life. Though it can be hard, though there's no guarantees, though sometimes it feels empty or meaningless, I've found a lot of value in creating my own meaning. So enjoy life. Until next time, stay blessed.